lemon shores. So today I'm feeling a little bit sweet tooth, so I'm gonna make a chocolate cake. These are all the ingredients I need to make the chocolate cake. This recipe I'm gonna divide into 2 days. So today I'm gonna just make the cake and we will do the icing tomorrow. So the ingredients that we need for making this chocolate cake, of course, the first thing here is the all-purpose flour. Then I need some cream. So this is the normal cream. Then I have some chocolate here because I am going to do a chocolate icing by making a chocolate ganache. I have here some water and sugar to make the syrup that I'm going to use when I'm doing the icing of my cake. For cake, I have here Milkmaid, some oil. I have here choco powder. Of course, it's a chocolate cake. Some coffee, just for the taste. If you don't like coffee, you can totally skip it. I have baking powder, baking soda. I also have some drinking soda here. If you have an opened bottle already in your fridge, you can use that. And here I have one cake tin that I have oiled it and dusted it with the flour, and I'm letting it rest. In the meantime, I'm going to make the cake batter. Okay, so now we're gonna mix up all of our dry ingredients. So I'm gonna put my flour through a sieve. To the flour, I'm adding my cocoa mix, my coffee, baking soda, and baking powder. Now sieve all of this into your bowl. Just sieve it from a little bit up so that there's some air that goes into your flour. Now my flour is sieved and I'm gonna move on to the wet ingredients. Now for the wet ingredients, I'm gonna put my oil into this bowl and I'm gonna add my condensed milk into it. And we're gonna beat both of these together till they become a little bit light and frothy. And I'm gonna cheat because I'm gonna use my hand blender for it. But you can totally use your hand whisk if you don't have a hand blender. But if you do, use a hand blender because it's really easy to use that. So I have beaten my oil and condensed milk for basically just about a minute, and this is how it looks, and it looks good. So we're gonna stop here and we're gonna move on to the next step. Now for the next step, we're gonna add a flour and a drinking soda into this and we're gonna fold it. We have to make sure there is a creamy consistency. We cannot have any lumps or anything in this. So get started with it. Do not put everything at one go. Just a little bit of this, a little bit of soda, and fold. I have a very small spatula, so if you have a bigger one, use a bigger one. Okay, it's all mixed up. Let's add some more flour. Oops. Some more soda. Mix away. Now all of my flour and soda is mixed in. This is how it looks. There are a few lumps. It's not as smooth as I would like, so I'm gonna cheat again and I'm gonna run my blender through this for a couple of seconds. Just a couple of seconds, not more than that. I have it on second speed, very slow. Let's just run it through. All right, there are bubbles, it's airy, and it's ready to go. Now I'm gonna preheat my oven on 160 degrees Celsius so that I can start putting my cake into the oven. Now my oven is heating, so I'm gonna pour my mixture into my cake tin. Make sure you don't fill the whole thing up. At the maximum, it has to be 3/4 of your tin size. So, yep, it can work. Pour the whole thing in. As soon as my microwave preheats on 160 degrees Celsius, I'm gonna put this on low rec for about 30 minutes. Now when my cake is cooking, I'm gonna make sugar syrup. So since I'm gonna do the finishing tomorrow, I'm gonna make chocolate ganache tomorrow. Today we are just making simple sugar syrup. For that I'm adding sugar to my water and I'm gonna let it come to a boil so that the whole thing dissolves, and then we're gonna let it cool. If you have some rum, you can also add rum to your sugar syrup after it's cooled down. Totally optional, but it does taste good if you have it. Now our sugar is dissolved and water is coming to an almost boil. This is where we close off the heat. Now my cake is baked for 30 minutes and this is how it looks. I'm gonna let it cool for about 10 minutes and then we're gonna flip it on our wire rack. My sugar syrup is also ready, so I've put it in a bottle and I'm gonna put this in the fridge and we're gonna use this tomorrow. In the meantime, do one thing. Take your knife and run it through the edges just to ensure your cake is not sticking anywhere, and if it is, just make sure you smoothly or quickly, easily just separate it out. Now it's been 5 minutes, so I'm gonna flip my cake onto the rack. So rack, cake, flip, smooth out, perfect. Now we're gonna let it rest here on this rack for a couple of hours, and then if you want, you can get started on your ganache and you can get started on your icing. I am in no hurry, so I'm gonna put that in fridge. Of course, first I'm gonna cling wrap it and then I'm gonna put this in the fridge till morning, and then we'll start on our chocolate ganache. And see you tomorrow morning when we start on to the next step. So our cake has been resting for overnight and this is time to start unwrapping it and starting with the next step. So unwrapping my cake. So here I have some fruits according to your choice, whatever feels good. And of course we have our chocolates and our cream. So we need to make sure our cream comes on room temperature, and I'm going to melt my chocolate and then we will make our ganache. And of course for this chocolate I'm going to slice it with my bread knife into a couple of layers so that we can create layers when we are making cake. Okay, so I've cut my cake into 4 layers. We're gonna put the top one, the uneven one at the bottom, and then we will start with the rest. We will put the bottom layer on top because it's the most, flat, so the finishing comes good. I've also taken some milk here because I need to make sure the milk and cream both comes from room temperature. When we're making a ganache, if the cream it feels it's little less, we can add a little bit of milk there. Okay, this is my sugar syrup that we made last night. I've also taken it out. I am making sure all of my ingredients are coming on room temperature while my chocolate is melting. My chocolate has melted, it's hot. Just make sure the chocolate is melted through and through. There are no lumps. And then we're gonna add our cream. So I'm gonna add my entire cream. Just make sure it is on room temperature, otherwise your chocolate will just simply stiff up. And mix both of them together. When you mix your cream into your chocolate, you will see your chocolate becomes very shiny, and that is when it's becoming into a ganache. I'm gonna add a bit of milk here, just a little bit, not too much. When we are ready to pour it on top, we'll probably add some more milk. Okay? Alright, let's start. I'm pouring my sugar syrup into a bowl so that I can easily work with it. Spoon. We're taking the first half and we are just dripping it with syrup. So what it does is that it makes sure your cake becomes a little bit moist so that it's eatable, Here I'm adding a bit of chocolate ganache, not too much because you can't eat chocolate too much, so just a little bit. If you're doing white frosting or simple cream frosting, you can add a lot here according to your choice. And you can level it up. It's a little uneven, so I'm gonna have to level it up from one side. You know what? I'm gonna put it on a plate. Right. Then we'll add a couple of our strawberries here. Fruits as per choice, whatever you like. Chocolate and strawberry is a really good combination. So then we take our next batch. Melted and ready to pour. So I'm gonna put a plate at the bottom of this so that the chocolate that comes out goes on top of the plate. It's a little bit uneven, but that's okay. We're gonna pour the chocolate, let it go out from all ends. Beautiful. If you think your chocolate is too thin, you can let it rest or add more chocolate. If you think it's too thick, you can add a little bit of milk. Completely your choice. I'm just happy with a simple, plain, small layer. That's what I'm going to get here. My chocolate is dripped. I'm gonna let it rest here for a couple of minutes, and I'm gonna pop this in my fridge for about 10 minutes so that it can settle down. Okay, so it's been about 8 to 10 minutes. So it's jugaad time. So I don't have the proper knives that you need to transfer your cake, so I'm gonna use what I have. I have 2 knives which I'm gonna use to transfer my cake. And again, I don't have a cake stand, so I'm using my marble stone that I use to make my chapatis. Alrighty, so next thing, I have here some caster sugar, which I'm gonna use to sprinkle a little bit here to give it a little bit of color. Okay, let's start with the garnishing. A couple of strawberries. I've dipped this one in caster sugar. This looks good. You can add them whole, you can add them small, up to you. Adding a couple of orange slices just to make it look good, and of course a little bit of pomegranate. Now here I made some homemade, well, I tried to make some homemade milkmaid, and then I've added a little bit of peanut butter into it, and I'm gonna sprinkle this. How much do you want to sprinkle is entirely up to you. So my chocolate cake is ready. Try this one out at home because this looks super delicious and it will taste amazing. So try this one. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, let me know. If you have any request for new recipe, do let me know that as well. And I'll see you next time with a new recipe. Some tricks, we try to make it homemade as much as possible. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up below, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell button so that you know whenever I upload a new video. See you next time with a new recipe. Till then, bye.